Hello and welcome to Ace Designs 107. I am the ace in the card pack and you're the kings and queens. Today what I have for you guys is a wallpaper tutorial on how to make this really retro-y paper feel. It's really easy and I think that you guys will enjoy it. So let's get straight into the tutorial. But before I do start, I want to say that daily uploads will be coming back to the channel. It's going to happen on the 13th of July 2015, and I'm going to keep this schedule for the rest of the time being. So on the 13th you guys will see daily uploads, and I'm going to start recording the videos in like advanced, so I can just schedule each video to each day, and that way if I don't have time on a day it's already going to come out. So it's definitely going to happen, guys, so be tuned for that. Okay, so the first step of the tutorial is to go to File, New, and I'm going to make the width of this document 1920 and the height is going to be 1080p, and it's going to be set to pixels, and I'm going to set the background contents to white. Sorry for the squeakiness, it's my chair, I do apologize, and I'm going to press OK. Okay, so I'm going to go to File, Open, and I'm going to open up this texture. Now if you don't have this texture, the link will be in the description below. All you have to do is open up that link and save the picture to somewhere on your computer and open it. So we're going to open up this. I'm going to press V on our keyboard to bring up the move tool, and I'm going to move it onto this document. So I'm going to press Ctrl T and I'm going to hold Shift while I resize this texture, and I'm going to fit it onto my document. Then I'm going to press Ctrl Shift Enter to finish that. So you can try to sharpen this texture, but I don't think it's going to make much difference because of we're going to change the opacity. But you can go to Effect, Sharpen, Filter, Sharpen Edges, and sometimes that'll help, sometimes it won't. Okay, so for the background, we're going to change the background color to a black or a really dark gray. In my case, I like to use 101010. Press OK. Then press G on our keyboard to grab up the paint bucket tool, and I'm going to click once while the background layer is selected. Then I'm going to go to normal, and then I'm going to mess around with the layer styles. So overlay is fine, I could do lighten, I could see, so normal, soft light's okay, and that's not dark enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a layer levels by going to adjustments and level layer, and then I'm going to adjust these sliders to change the lighting settings of this. Okay, so now I have something that I think will be suitable. So the second step is to do out our text. So for this, what we're going to do is we're going to grab up a font called RNS. I think it's called RNS Bobo Dylan font. It's on darfonts.com, guys. That's where I source all my fonts for the tutorial. So make sure you go down to the description below, and there will be a link for you guys ready to download the font. And I'm just going to press T on my keyboard, and I'm going to type in RNS. And with this font, I'm going to type it with a lime green, just like I showed in the tutorial preview. And I'm going to click once on my document, and I'm going to type in retro, and I'm going to press Ctrl Shift Enter. Now mine's typed it up really small, that's fine, just press Ctrl T and resize that, and hold Shift while you're resizing it. And I'm going to go to Window, Character, and I'm going to change the VA to like a 0, maybe a little bit larger, like 200. I think something like that will work, or a little bit closer, like 50. And then with those settings, I'm going to make sure that I like my green, maybe change it a little bit, so like a little bit lighter. And I'm going to press Ctrl A on my document, press V to grab my move tool, and press the second and fifth icon. I'm going to press Ctrl T on that text and hold Shift to resize it, and then recenter it again. Because remember, we're going to add in these shapes, so you don't want to make the text too large, because it's going to overpower the shapes. And I'm going to move this above my levels. And with this retro, I'm going to press Ctrl J, and that's going to duplicate the text layer. And then I'm going to press Ctrl T on the new duplicate and move it a couple of times with the arrow keys, and a couple of times to the side, and then with this one I'm going to move it below my retro and just do text darker, and I'm going to click on my foreground color, make sure that I have text tool selected, and I'm going to change the color of this text to a little bit darker, so I can select this and then just go straight down. I think something like this will work. Okay, so the next step of this tutorial is, I'm just going to adjust this quickly. So the next step of this tutorial is to make sure that it looks like a long shadow. So if you're not sure what a text effect long shadow looks like, it looks something like this. Just let me type it up on Google quickly. So it looks something like this, and it just gives that 3D feel to it. So for this tutorial, what I decided to do is I decided to right click on the text light darker layer and do rasterize type. But before I do that, I'm going to press Ctrl J and make sure that I have a backup copy. It's always good to have a backup copy whenever you're working with texts and before you rasterize them. And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to press P on my keyboard to grab up my pen tool, and I'm going to fill in these little things like this. So I'm going to make a pen tool, make it around here, press OK, you'll see what I mean. And then I'm going to grab my bucket tool, and I'm just going to simply fill that in. But make sure that you fill it in with your darker color. It's hard to explain, but easy to look at. And that looks like it's a little bit more 3D. So we're working with something here. Okay, so I'll move this once to the side and make sure that this is lined up. And I'm going to do the same for all the other corners. And you'll see with the E, I'll do it in different instances. There's a reason for that, because I would have to make this conjoined. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply do that same technique with making a selection, make selection, press OK, fill that in, press D to deselect. But see how there's this little overhang? That doesn't look nice. So I'm just going to redo this. Make sure that I delete the path. And you want to get this pretty accurate, because if you don't do it, it'll make it look like the text doesn't look naturally like that, and it'll look messy. So it's pretty important that you take your time with this. There's nothing much to it. And just to talk about my daily uploads, I wrote some notes about them. I'm going to be recording them in pre-advanced, so you guys won't miss any upload like with daily. So a lot of their YouTubers, what they do is they just make their video on the day because it's their full-time job. But because I'm a full-time student with work, and I'm also trying to balance and study into this equation, it's important that I prioritize my workplace and my school, and then YouTube as a second, like as a hobby. But I'll definitely try to make it my third priority in life, and something like that. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to make sure that I get every single layer. So you're seeing what I'm doing here, guys. And I'm not going to speed up this, because if you want to work along with me, hopefully you can, and that wouldn't be too hard for you. Because sometimes I do speed up the tutorial when I'm repeating a step, but in this instance I'm just not going to speed it up. And I'm just pressing Ctrl D to deselect the selections, if you're wondering, with your pen tool. And yeah, I've got some pretty exciting things coming up on my channel, so make sure you tune in. So I've got this done, and I've got that long shadow, so it looks really cool. Now with this one, you can see that the text has a drop shadow on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to this long shadow, go to blending options, and then add in a drop shadow. And for this drop shadow, I'm going to make the size not too large. Probably around 59. The spread is going to be 10. Distance going to be around 5. And the opacity is not going to be too large, like 19 or something. Still looks like we have a drop shadow, but not too large. Okay, so the next step for this tutorial is we're going to add in these shapes. Now, oh, sorry, I have a phone call. I'll turn off that. Okay, so yeah, so we're gonna add in these shapes. So I don't know how to. I'm just gonna save this as. I'm gonna use this picture as a reference. The reason for that is because of it's hard for me to make up shapes. Like, I'm not very creative. It's very ironic, but I'm not. So I'm just gonna save this. Use that as reference. Okay, so we're gonna grab my pen tool, and I'm gonna show you some techniques which you can use with the pen tool to make these easy 2D shapes that you saw. So with these, I'm going to first of all start with the circles, because if I won't need the pen tool, grab my ellipse tool, and I'm gonna make the fill for these like a blue, like a light blue. You wanna work with light colors with these. And I'm gonna rename this layer circles. And I'm just going to simply drag it out like this, make sure that it doesn't have any stroke. And I'm going to put these below the texts also. And I'm just going to continue doing that. So, do that, and then do that. So, I'm going to add in another one like this. And add in another color, okay. And now I'm going to add in a circle around here. And I'm going to speed up this part. So I'll see you guys back after I finish doing all the circles and all the other shapes. Actually, I'm going to show you how to do the pen tool. So yeah. So I'm going to make a new layer with this one. And I'm going to merge all these ellipses together by starting from the top ellipse and then going Control E. Or shift clicking all of them. And pressing Control E and just naming blue circles. And I'm gonna go on my new layer, and I'm gonna grab like a pink. You want to work with very vibrant colors in the like retro style. They work a lot better, and it's sticking with the theme of actual retro. So here we have like a pink, okay. And I'm gonna merge all these together, all these circles, and I'm just gonna call these. Oh, actually. You can rationalize them if you have different colors, because that's going to affect each one. And I'm just going to name these circles. We're going to merge all these shapes into one layer anyway. So now I'm going to show you how to use the pen tool very quickly. And then I'm going to zoom, then I'm going to like speed up the tutorial. Just me making pen shapes. So basically it's really simple. You click once, and then you click another to grab an ankle. Not an ankle, like an anchor, sorry, this is you finding that word, and you simply click and drag, and then once you have this, if you click like this, it's going to make a weird arc, and it's not going to go how you want it to go. So you hold Alt on your keyboard, and click on that point, and that's going to get rid of that line, and then you can do whatever type of shape you want. So I'm going to go like this. I'll just go through one shape with you guys. Like that, press Alt, hold, and then go like this. Now, it doesn't have to be very accurate, guys. This is like a more of an abstract, you could say. But you still want to get in some pretty cool shapes. And yeah, just be mindful on how you do it. Don't overclutter your designs. And I'm going to finish it like that, and then go from there. Okay, so I've got something like this, and then I'm going to go right click and then do make selection, press OK. And I'm going to press G on my keyboard and fill that in. And then press Ctrl D to deselect. And then I have a shape. I can resize this shape. Oh, but I filled it on a same path as circles. Make sure that you fill it in on a separate path. So just in case if you make the shape too large or like something like that, you can always edit it individually apart from the rest. So okay, so once you finished making all your shapes, I simply just dragged mine from this picture here, just to save me time, just for the purpose of the tutorial. But I've shown you guys how to make your basic shapes with the pen tool. And don't feel afraid to use the other shapes tools. You can get some really cool things. So you're gonna merge all your shapes together, doesn't matter what color they are, and you're just gonna name this shape layer. And all you're gonna do is you can move this here below all your layers, even your levels, and then go to here and then go overlay. If that doesn't work for you like the way that you want it, you can try all the different modes like soft light, overlay, or other things. But the easiest way that I like to do it is I like to leave it normal, however move it in between the layer, this layer, which is on soft light, I mean your paper texture layer, and your background. So what this is going to do is it's going to make it kind of blended in like the preview. And all you have to do with this one is you can press Ctrl U on your shape layer, and you can bump up the saturation, and you can even mess around with the hue if you want to change some of the colors. But I'm just going to leave it with the same hue, and you can also change the lightness. You can mess around with some of the cool settings like that, but I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make these glares. So it's really simple. All you have to do is just go across the whole layer. So we're going to make a new layer above the shape one, and we're going to click like this, bam. And it's a good idea to do it in shift so you get a 45-degree angle consistency. But it might make it a bit thick, so you can just do it anyway. Right click and then make selection, press OK, press G and fill that in with white on your new layer. And you can move this below the shape one, and then you can change it to overlay. And you can duplicate that a couple of times by pressing Ctrl J. Change the thickness like that. And it's really simple, that's all you have to do, and you can even kind of overlap it, get some really cool things coming on. It's all about your taste, guys. I can't really teach you on how to make it yourself. And if you want to do like the one that's going in through the middle of the text, you can just press Ctrl J again on the smaller one. And I'm going to resize this one and then just bump it up like that. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pen tool, and I'm just going to cut through here. Don't really worry about the gaps between the text. Press OK and press delete, and you've got something that's cutting through there. And you're going to change the opacity on each of these right down. The reason for that is we don't want these to be too strong. We just want to make them really, really soft. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is you can add in a drop shadow on the shape layer, and this will just give the image a little bit of depth, depending on if you want these to be 3D, like a 3D layered banner. Okay, so that's it for today. Now all you have to do is just press T on your keyboard to grab up your text tool, pick a font, make a new layer, pick a font, and then type in your signature. Pick an appropriate font for the signature. In my case, it's going to be Typography Pro. I'm going to change this to white. And I'm going to resize it down to the sign, and I'm going to put it in the corner. And I've signed it, I've made it, and yeah, hopefully I helped you guys. This is something that I don't do these effects that much. The reason for that is I just like to do more banner work and more YouTube stuff. I don't really make that much like wallpapers and that, so I do apologize if I'm a bit rusty on this stuff. I really wanted to give you guys content, and I'm trying my hardest to find cool tutorials. I really am, guys, so I'm apologize if I couldn't help you. Another thing that you could do is you could do like this one. Make selection, that's okay. And you can also change these to filter. Press Ctrl E. Merge all these together, change the opacity right down. And then go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Something like that. Anyway guys, I really hope that I could help you, and if I didn't, thank you so much for watching the video anyway, and I hope that you subscribe and like the video. Secret download will be released at 50 likes, follow my Twitch, and let's have a great day. Peace.